She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word of Mom Radio here on the Word of Mom Media Network. I'm your host, Dori DeCarlo, and you know we are here week after week, show after show, breaking those myths that businesswomen and mompreneurs, especially us building our businesses from home, that we're just dabbling in between bake sales and getting our nails done. We're not. We are smart, we are savvy, and we are sharing the wisdom of women in business and in life. And I am really delighted to be bringing today's guest in. Fran Sisco is a remarkable creative professional whose life and work reflect an uncommon blend of business expertise, artistic expression, and compassion for others. With a distinguished career in finance and an extraordinary range of accomplishments in writing, performance, film, music, and advocacy, Fran offers a perspective shaped by both professional excellence and personal authenticity. With more than 200 shows, award-winning creative work, and years of conversation about identity, justice, and humanity, I'm really thrilled to have Fran here so we can talk about her creativity, resilience, transition, purpose, and the experiences that have shaped her incredibly unique journey. So I could keep going on and tell you more, but I can't wait to get Fran here so she can share her journey. So, Fran, welcome to Word of Mom Radio.
So happy to be here, Dory. Very,
I'm
very happy to be.
thrilled.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
thrilled to have you here. And I would love for you to take our listeners on your journey because it's remarkable.
to hear it from you in that short space and to hear it condensed like that is really amazing to me because it tells me not necessarily of what I've done, but what the world offers and what I took advantage of. I feel like I've been lucky in being at the right place at the right time so many different times, and also being guided by God, by people that during the struggles in my life, I was able to get through them. So far, we all have amazing struggles. And to be part of what you have focused on about women, I'm extraordinarily gifted to consider myself a woman now. From when I was 8 years old, I used to lie in bed as a Italian American Catholic. I would say my Hail Marys at night, going to sleep, and I would pray that I would turn into a girl by morning. And I would say 20, 30, 40 until I did fall asleep. And then the morning would come and I wouldn't be a girl, obviously. And but I did believe that somehow I would become one. And it was part of my identity, but it was secretive. It was hidden. I didn't share that with anyone except Christ and Mary. And so as I grew up, though, I got to be more expressed about it. I started cross-dressing. Sometimes it was to deal with pain, a way to sort of medicate myself through cross-dressing or to soothe myself. And it worked for a while. One of the big challenges I had was when my grandfather, who I lived in his house, my family, my brother, mother and father, and my father's brother and their kids and wife lived in my grandfather's house, and he died suddenly when I was 10, and he was about 52 or so, 53. And that shock to the family was really rough to get through. And I think that during that period of time, I then cross-dressed, which I considered a sin, at the time, to really just release some tension and pressure and stuff like that. Ordinarily, I led a life as a male, played sports, did all the things that boys did, boxed, got into fights and things like that when I was growing up, but really wanted to be female. I think I was influenced by my mother. I loved her so much. I loved my father, but it was my mother's sensitivity, her way of dealing with issues and problems in a very measured way that made me really identify more with her way of being, and possibly that influenced my gender identity. So it wasn't until I married, have a daughter, wonderful daughter who is 42 now. I am still married to my wife, although we don't live together. She has never adjusted to me being female, although we do spend time together, once in a while. And we're on the phone often during the week. We share what each of us are going through in our life. So I kind of had the best of both worlds, I felt. Professionally, I was lucky to get into a great firm called Price Waterhouse, which was one of the top CPA firms. I had many of the biggest clients that the firm had were my clients too. I traveled, went to Algeria, in Europe and the western part of the United States. I did a lot of work like that. Then I started focusing more on smaller situations, small businesses and individuals, serve a lot of retired people, many of them women. I seem to identify more with what they may be going through as a widow, perhaps as a callback to when I lived in the house with my grandmother when she was living like that as a widow. And then I got into performing as a way of self-expression, especially when my parents became ill. My father had Alzheimer's and my mother had Parkinson's, and it was really difficult handling their care, hiring the caregivers and visiting my parents each day. And they expressed the wish of remaining in their home and not going into an assisted living facility or nursing home. And I respected that. So for a period of about 10 years, which I at the time felt was a burden, and then later and now find it was really a gift. I mean, it wasn't a gift that they were sick, but it was a gift that I had the pleasure, the privilege of taking care of them. I can feel myself getting a little emotional about that. And it was really a phenomenal thing. And I got to see them, and I think helped inspire them to be their best selves during that period where they could have gone into complete depression. And we did lots of things. I had about 30 caregivers over a period of time who served them and who were maybe the most numerous of the people who attended their wakes. So I'm jumping around a bit, but I think you're getting maybe the insight to what makes me tick, namely family. It's a very important part of it.
Being Italian, that closeness, I totally understand. Praying to Mary. I used to pray to Mary and be like, can you tell Jesus I did this? And let God know I did that.
Right.
And the comfort that it brings, even though, like you said, for all those years of living in secret, that you're not anymore. You're over 65 and transitioned and living your female life. And so many people are out there trying to find the way to live that authentic life. What do you want to say?
What I want to say to people who are in the beginning stages, especially those people in the beginning stages, say, of a transition. Let's take people transitioning from male to female as an example. But a transition could be, I just helped a woman transition from a life with just making ends meet, who lived in a house with lots of equity that was away from town. I helped her transition into a beautiful rented apartment in the middle of town where she could walk around town and get the train, get the bus, etc., and into an apartment that she could afford, living off the money from the house that she sold. And I was instrumental in every part of that. Or transition like getting laid off because your job is no longer necessary, or whatever the reason for transitions. But one very important transition that I've been through that I feel like I really can help families with, perhaps maybe more obvious, is the transition from male to female. And that's a really rough one, and especially in some cultures, especially like the Italian-American culture, especially New York Italian-American, which are really prejudiced in their own way, right? God bless them. And one of the things is to be fully expressed, and it's hard to be fully expressed when you're dealing with lots of prejudice against you. But what I found, to go back to when my parents were ill, I was getting so overwhelmed with that struggle that I needed to be expressed about that. And at the same time, I was transitioning from male to female, and I went on January 1, 2011. So it's 1-1-1-1. I went full-time female. I just told, basically, I threw out all my male clothes. I brought them to Salvation Army, and I took the K off of Frank, and I became Fran. on that one day. I then started telling everybody about it, my clients, my family, my friends. Really, very luckily, maybe because I was expressed about it, maybe because I prayed about it, maybe I was very sincere in the way I approached it, but they all stuck by me. And it was really incredible. It was like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life when he goes back and he sees what people really thought of him. I had the great opportunity of seeing what people really thought about me, because they said, no, I'll stay. I want you to still be my CPA, or I will still be your friend and I will go shoot pool with you when you want. And I will still be your cousin, and all of that in my life. It was like such, Dori, it felt like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life.
And as a mom, I have to say, and I see so many moms out there who are dealing with this in their own families and feel so lost. And what did I do? And who you are is who you are. That's
That's
it.
right.
You were a little boy. You already knew you were not who you were supposed to really be.
Right.
Why people feel threatened by it or whatever is really what's making me tear up, because it is so ridiculous to have any negative feelings, to say that still my friends, still my cousin, just hit my
Right.
heart. The still my cousin is
Right.
what really hit my heart, because family, you're never supposed to be able to hit a wall. That's your family. And that's what unconditional love is all about. And as a mom, I have that unconditional love in my life, that who you are is who you are. And it's in anything, like you said, transitioning from this to that, from working to retired, from married to divorced.
Right.
There are so many transitions our lives go through, and people can be cruel. So I'm thrilled that people love you and know you well enough that who you are is who you are. And I love the angel number that you went 1111. That is such a strong
Yeah.
transition number. If anybody doesn't know about
Well,
numerology, look up 1111. See what that angel meaning is. It's
you'll get a kick out of this. 1111 also has been very significant to me. And on the phone, when your phone goes to 1111, or on the stove, or on the clock, especially digital clocks, you get that 1111. I've been taking photos, even last night in the car. I pulled the phone out and took a photo. It's a reminder that these are other influences around us, and life maybe has meaning and influence that we don't often see, but we get glimpses of it. And during that whole period of transition from that 1111, actually what happened is I wanted my mother to be on board with my transition. She was resisting it. No, don't. The neighbors will see. No. She loved me and she wanted the best for me, but she knew that might have been a tough thing, because I had come out to a client of mine, and my client Doreen suggested, because her son, who was gay, came out to her, and she saw the difference in their relationship, the honesty and the trust and stuff that developed because of that authenticity and that coming out. I tried to get over to see my mother to show her, well, I don't look that offensive when I'm dressed as a female. Maybe this could work. And she says, no. Jennifer is going to be here until 6 o'clock. I said, oh, I'll come after 6 o'clock. So I made sure it was after. But when I got there, Jennifer was still there. So I was already there. And Jennifer sees me pull up in my car. She comes down the steps and she says to me, Fran, what are you doing? I said, oh, it's Halloween. She says, no, this is too real to be just Halloween. What's doing? And I explained it to her in the car. She had to go to the bus, so I said, I'll drive you to the bus. She waved the bus past, and she says, I want to talk to you. And she had a very serious, she was only a 38-year-old mother of 3. She was talking to me, telling me things that I've been trying to solve for 60 years, and she did. And she says, me and my husband, when we want to handle a difficult thing, what we look for is the simplest way to approach it, not the most complicated. We don't look at every alternative, every opportunity. We go by what we feel is right. And what do you feel is right? Do you want to be a male or a female? And I said, female. Right then, like that. And she said, that's it. I said, well, I can't just be a female. I have 100 clients and I have my family members. What's my father going to say? He was born here, but he's Calabrese. What are they going to, what about my wife? What's my daughter going to say? I'm coming up with all these reasons. She's so, oh, easy. They'll all accept you. They love you, don't they? I said, yes. Then they will accept you. So for the young people out there, for the mothers and fathers who have children, some of their children may be 40 or 50 who are transitioning or feel that they need to, use a lot of love and kindness, let them express themselves. And you as the parent, you as the friend, the cousin, express what's wrong with the situation. And sometimes you find that their reasoning has merit, another path. But the more that you express oneself, the more information comes into it, and the greater chance there is for kindness and fairness and love to enter into the equation.
You know what? It's so hard because, again, in everything, in every one of those transitions, it is still the fear of what are people going to think? What are they going to say? And ultimately, who you are is who you are. And happy comes from yourself.
Right.
It does. It does.
There are some practical things too, for example. But another part of being transgender, another way to look at it, is more like the Native Americans see it, as a two-spirited person, that you're both male and female, that you don't have to make these major changes. When I was starting to transition, I would listen to tapes in the morning that helped me transition my voice so that I sounded more female, and I would practice it and I would listen to the speaker, but it wasn't right for me. It was fake. So I went back, because I would go into the world and I would start talking like that, and I would start imagining these different gestures and stuff, and people would say, what's going on? What are you doing? Like it wasn't me, So I went basically back to speaking in my regular voice. And I know that didn't sit well with some people, but for most people it was okay, because it was more me. It was more authentic being that to me.
For nothing, Fran. Do you remember B. Arthur?
Yes, right.
Yeah. I have news for you. I have a deep voice on the phone.
Yeah. Yes.
I've had people ask that don't know me, are you a man or a woman?
Yes, right.
It's like, last time I checked, I'm a
Right,
girl. Sorry that I
right,
have a deep voice. But here's the thing. Everybody's got the right to be who they are and loved for themselves, not
right,
for who people think you should be or
right.
anything else,
Well,
but
let's
loved for you.
for you.
And I
Let's
know that that's part of what you do with. Talk to me about some of the movies you.
yeah.
I know you have.
Yes. In June, which is nationally that's recognized as Pride Month, and I have shown several of my films during Pride Month. I've performed as a comedian, as a singer. I write songs. I have about 350 poems and songs that I've written, and many of which I performed it with other people and myself. I'm asked during Pride Month to do that, but not just Pride Month. So in the beginning stages of my transition, pride was very, very important to me, because now I was accepted. I was proud. That was 14 years ago, 15 years ago, right? So I'm more involved in the everyday part of life than separating life between LGBT and non-LGBT. That said, I just won a festival for Best LGBT film a few months ago, the Golden Door Film Festival, which is coming up again now. And then now I'm nominated for 7 films, 6 live during the festival and 1 online. And one of the films has nothing to do with being trans. It's Joe Franklin.
Joe was on our show. He
Oh, he
was one
was.
of my dearest friends. He used to tell me that I was a young Dorothy Lamour. And anytime I went into
Really?
the city, Joe, we went out to dinner, we went to shows. I got
Oh,
to see Barbara Cook perform with him in a
oh,
little, this
yes.
wonderful, amazing room with maybe 75 invited people. I love that you're doing Joe's film. Can't wait to see it.
Oh,
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
it was such a joy to be with him. I didn't know him as well as you do, but I would talk to Joe often. He would call into the radio show that myself and Tom Sullivan were co-hosts of at WVOX in New Rochelle for many years. So Joe would call in and we would talk. We did a show called Senior Musings where we would bring in 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds to perform in the studio, 10 of them to sing or do a skit or tell a joke or whatever, and really give props to those older people. And Joe was doing a similar thing all those years, so we identified a lot with him. And then one day we went down, Tom Sullivan, myself, and Steve Sawaka, third friend, we went down and we interviewed Joe. And from that, we pulled a 1 hour and 10-minute film called Joe Franklin, Our Hour with Him. And it was priceless. This is basically an unedited version of this interview. The cinema verite aspects of it, that it was so real with less editing, made it even more Joe. So I have that film is going to be in this festival, and it's going to be in June. And I'll get over to you the schedule and everything. And it's on Facebook under the North Film Festival, TNFF, in June.
Fran's links are going to be live on
Great.
Word of Mom, and we will be sending out this to our listeners. Those of you who are in New York, come out to these wonderful film festivals,
Great.
especially during Pride Month. So much going on.
That's June 10th, and I'll put the link up. I wanted to mention a couple of these other films that maybe give a feeling about why I believe so strongly in full disclosure and freedom of expression, being fully expressed. And that's the lesson I learned when my parents were sick. I was getting depressed. Like, what do I do about this? I saw an ad for stand-up comedy, and I went for it, and I started taking classes in stand-up comedy. I had always been funny. I was entertained by friends and once in a while a show here and there. But I went and I put some seriousness with it, and I ended up lucking out into a great group of people quite a bit, and that was the thing that really helped me. That and saying some novenas and things like that helped me really be fully expressed about being trans, and I found through that I was getting so much support, it became addictive. It really became addictive. And the more, and I saw that in other comedians, that they often were in comedy because they were having struggles going on in their life. So there's always, and say something my father's mother used to say a lot, and many people of their generation, there's always a silver lining. You just have to look for it. There's an opening that you have that allows other people to come in, and then together you end up finding the answers to many issues. And your channel, which I'm so glad to have met you.
You know, we met at Anthony's Christmas party.
And Anthony's Christmas. And Anthony Valbiro.
That's where we met. Anthony was our director for Death of a Salesman that I was playing the woman in. And you had come to the show. We had met at the party, and I started talking with you. And then somebody mentioned your films, and I said, come on the show. Come let everybody know what you're doing. Why have a platform if you can't promote people that you like and respect?
I was so happy and I'm so happy for your diligence in following up with me too. So I want to mention these other films. One film my daughter is in, and my daughter is my biggest supporter, actually. She's 42 now. And so when I transitioned, she was 27, I guess, or so at that time. And she had boyfriends and stuff, some of whom didn't understand about being trans. Plus, that was 15 years ago, too. A lot has changed since then. She'll perform with me. We'll be on a stage together doing comedy. She'll sing. We've co-written some songs. And one song we have is called Happy Trans Girl Like Me. That's saying, I'm happy, and this is why. And the song says that. And it's a feel-good song that we have won Best Music Video for and Best Short Film.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then there's a friend of mine who is seeking asylum from Ghana as a trans woman, black woman, And she sang a song that I wrote for her, actually a parody of La Vie en Rose. I wrote a different set of lyrics for it, and she performed it at this very sophisticated ballroom at a women's club. That became another short film, won a couple of awards in the past. And then I have a longer film. It's going to be on Zoom. It's an hour and 10 minutes long also, like Joe Franklin's film. It's called It's an Italian Thing. No, it's a Black Thing. And it's about how this Italian aging trans woman falls in love with a young Black girl, and how the two families deal with that. There's a lot of comedy in it. And then I have a book about that. I put it in book form. So the book is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble now, if anyone wants to read it. I'm looking.
We'll have the link up to that too.
Yes. So
I have all of Fran's links up to anything and everything that she's doing. Reach out.
And I love what you're doing, because you're really helping, you're helping people who participate, and then you're helping the people that listen to it.
This is a podcast, so you'll hear it audio. We have a podcast channel on YouTube and Spotify and Amazon and everywhere that you're listening to podcasts. You can find Word of Mom Radio. But then we'll do some reels. We'll take some little bitty video snips of stuff that you're talking about and that I'm talking about. And we'll throw it up on our TikTok channel and YouTube, and we do what we can to share everybody, because there's so much out there, and this is the time of the year. Art festivals and theater festivals, movie festivals. It's funny. Schitt's Creek and COVID.
Right.
I think that COVID and that show did more to open people's eyes to just letting people be people.
Right. That's right.
And for me, I have been blessed with people in all walks of life, and their journeys are remarkable, as is yours. Because we're going to have to wrap this up, and I can just keep talking to you forever.
Yeah.
So you've been talking about your comedy. I know you have a tight 10. You have a tight 2?
It's a little joke. When I was and it's true, a true story. When I was first transitioning, I thought, how can I tell my father? Before I physically started dressing that way in his presence, I said, what am I going to say to him? He showed me how to play baseball and box and doing it, and he considers me a real guy and all that. And what is he going to think of me? What is he going to say? So I said, I know. I'll find out what he knows first, and then I'll tailor it to that. So I said, Dad, you know about this LGBT stuff? He says, oh, yeah, I know about LGBT. Yeah, I know about LGBT. I tried that. I said, Dad, you tried LGBT? He says, yeah, I tried it. I didn't like it. I mean, I like the bacon, lettuce, and tomato, but I didn't like the gorgonzola cheese. True story. My mom, I don't know, is there time for one more or no?
Myself on mute because I'm laughing too hard.
And my mom went to her, and I said, Mom, starting 1/1/11, I'm going to be dressed only as a female. I wanted to let you know that. So it's next week is 1/1/11. She says, what are you crazy? Frankie, what are you doing? She used to call me Frankie. Frankie, what are you doing? You're a good-looking guy. What are you going to dress as a woman for? Come on. What are you doing? What's your wife going to say? What's your daughter going to say? I said, Mom, you haven't known, but it's been with me all my life. This is what I'm going to do. I said, I'm going to come here from now on, starting 1/1 as a female. So I go in the first day, to her house. I open the door. She's sitting on the couch watching television, and she says, Frankie, come on. I didn't look that good, I don't think. I mean, I had been cross-dressing, but I don't think I really did that good of a job. And my mom was a very good-looking woman, even when she got sick and stuff. And she says, no. So the second day went by, third. I got better and better each day, because now I needed to impress my mom. I wanted her love, right? I wanted her to at least love me as somebody that she could love. So the seventh day, I go in, and I had this black and white polka dot dress, really sharp looking dress. I had a new wig. At that time, my hair wasn't long. I had a new wig on. I took time with my makeup. I had the right color lipstick and stuff. And I walk in and I open the door and I'm standing there, and she says, Fran. She didn't say Frankie. She said, Fran, you look good today. She said, you even have a glow about you. I said, Mom,
Oh,
you think I'm pregnant? Because she said you had a glow about you. So, and so I don't hear you laughing because you have it muted. I understand it. You think I'm pregnant? So she said she had dementia to go with the Parkinson's, and she says, "You are?" I said, "Mom, I can't be pregnant." She says, "Oh, that's right. You're too old." The things, there was so many funny, wonderful things happening in my life. So all I did was I got on stage and I shared them. And I think I really helped a lot of people in the audience deal with their own transitions of gender, of everything, of sexuality, of money, of divorce, like you mentioned, of everything. We all going through a lot of transitions and we all need each other and we all want to share the love. And your show is a really wonderful addition to my life. And I'm going to go on and find out what many of these other women have said. I
I'm
really
glad. It has been an honor for me all these years. The amazing people that I have had the opportunity to share their journeys, to introduce people to new things. And that's what it's all about. So, as we're wrapping up, Fran, how can people reach out to you? And what would you like to say?
They could go to my website, which is www.trans, Trans, Fran, Fran, Cisco, Sisco.com. That references it over to the site transfrancisco.wordpress.com. So either of those will get you there. And on that page, we'll have my email address and a lot of information about myself. And they also can email me if they want to take that down when they hear this at Francis, Francis, like the Pope, Cisco, Sisco, at AOL.com. And when they contact me, I'll be free to give them my phone number and stuff like that. I'm often performing in New York City, and there are places around in Westchester County and Greenwich, Connecticut, Stamford, etc., where there are performances. And I can tell you about these different film festivals. I hope you come and enjoy some of the films and some of the plays and some of the shows and stuff that are put on. And also, if you look to find out more about me on the website, there's information about my being a CPA and a financial advisor and that information as well.
All of Fran's links are going to be live. And trust me, with our show, you're going to be hearing a lot about Fran because I'm going to be taking our show to a bunch of these different festivals. We're going to have to take the show to a comedy club some night and
Oh, that'd
get
be great.
some
Yeah.
live feed to be able to throw in because I'm really hoping that this is the first of many times that Fran will be sharing her journey with us because I wish you could meet her in person. There's this great electricity about her, and I'm just excited to be able to share
Thank
everything. So
you,
I thank
Dory.
you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking
Thank
the
you so
time
much.
today to come and share with us. This show is going to be up all through Pride Month and everything else, and just on a continuum. We're going to be featuring the show, and you're just constantly going to be hearing about more stuff. Fran,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Dory. You are a wonderful person, and I really enjoyed all of this time and enjoy our relationship going forward, too. And
I
thank
look
you for
forward to it.
including me in the show. Thank you.
My pleasure. And for all of you tuning in, thank you so much for being here. We're going to close out with our fabulous theme song from Smith Sisters and the Sunday Drivers. So till next time, this is Dori DeCarlo saying go out and create a marvelous you. Bye for now.
She is She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. Sure of herself, yeah, she takes care of biz. Powerful and strong, yeah, she knows who she is. Has integrity, woman strong and true. You know her by name, see this woman is you. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. Adds value and hope. Has proved to be brave. See, it's never too late. Never time to behave. Reaching for dreams. Doesn't matter the age. Believes in herself. Unleashed from her cage. She is sure. She is sure. She